If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.
Hey everyone, it's Melanie Johnson. Welcome. We are talking books. We are talking publishing. We have a 3-time author with us today, David Chorpenning, and he just wrote his newest book. If you're excited to see what that is, the title is What the F is Next. But he has written not one, not two, but 3 books. So we're excited to talk to him and experience his author journey. Welcome. And my co-host, Jen Foster, is here too.
Hey everyone.
Hi.
So David, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm doing great.
David, tell us a little bit about your journey and how you first came up with the idea to write your first book.
Yeah, so I have been using intention my whole life. I'm 71, and it started on my journey when I was in my 20s, and I was exposed to some motivational type speakers back in my 20s. And I was in the real estate business, and that was a thing back then to have those people come and inspire us to sell more houses, make more money. So anyway, people like Zig Ziglar, Napoleon Hill, Tony Robbins, they're talking about goals and how to make all that happen. Well, I wasn't really turned on that much by that idea of making a lot of money. I wanted to obviously have a good life, but I did take away this concept of creating intentions and writing down intentions and then actions to make them happen. And so I decided at 23 to create an intention to be financially independent in 10 years. And from that intention, in 3 years, I had acquired enough 16 real estate units. And that was an eye-opener for me. Oh, wow, this intention stuff can work, because it wasn't that easy to buy that kind of property back then. And then from there, I created that gave me the confidence to create some other intentions, which were to have a long-term relationship and also to move to a place where I really wanted to live. Sunnier locale. I lived in Akron, Ohio at the time. And within a couple of years, those things happened. I've been married to a woman for 43 years. She's incredible. We have a great life together. And I live in Colorado, which is a perfect fit for the lifestyle that I want to have. So from that confidence, I continued to do things. And then by the time I was maybe that 10 or 15 years ago, I made the intention wanting to make a contribution to the body of knowledge about topics of importance to me. And so that's where the initial impetus to write Everyday Visionary came from. So I brought together all the research and ideas from my dissertation that I had done years before to decide to write this practical guide for people to think about and use more intention in their life.
So many people struggle with the discipline to write. 80% of people say they want to write a book, but really only 1% actually do. So what was your style to make sure with each book? Was it the same? How did you discipline yourself to get the content on paper? Did it take a long time? Did it take not very long? Walk us through your writing and creating process.
No, that's a good question. I guess fortunately, when you do a dissertation, the main part of it is you got to write if you're going to do it. So maybe the combination of you're paying this high tuition fee that makes you decide that if you're paying this high tuition fee, and the only way you're going to benefit from it is to actually produce a dissertation. Mm-hmm. So I happened to pick the topic that I was passionate about, which is intention. It was more geared towards organizations at the time because that's the work I was doing, but it was still the concept of intention. So I think that was helpful, having that commitment to it. I have a friend who is, smarter than I am by far and has great ideas. And every time we meet, he talks about the book that he wants to write. And it's still not written today. So, I think that's important. And I think the other important part is you got to block out the time. And so I made it really important in my schedule that I had writing times. And I remember when I was in the heart of writing the book, on vacation, those times still showed up and I still did them. I remember, being down in Cozumel, sitting on the deck and putting in my hour. And I didn't have to put in as many words as I thought, but I had a time block, and I wanted to have some words on the table on the paper by the end of it.
Awesome. I noticed on your latest book that you self-published. Did you have a traditional publisher for your first two books, or did you also self-publish?
Yeah, I self-published. I have a thing with authority and having people tell me, what's good, what I should do. And it doesn't always serve me. I recognize that, but it's a pretty strong, response that I have. It comes from my early childhood. I'm not good with authority, and publishers tend to be authorities. So this other option, even back then, seemed good enough. And I should be smart enough to figure out what they do to get my book out there. Like I'm, met with you, and I'm interested in talking to you about it more as the professional publishers in the business.
And the cool thing about like a company like ours is we're different than traditional publishers. We work with traditional publishers, and you're right. We call it the publishing handcuffs, because they are the authority, and oh no, you can't have that on your title. Oh no, you can't have a paperback. Oh no, they're really putting the hamper down. And as a creative like you are, no one likes to be told you can't create or have it created. And in our business with Elite Online Publishing, you get to have all of that. It's like you get to have your cake and eat it too. We're just here to tell you, it's like we build the house for you. You design the house, you put your own furniture in, but we get the engineers and we do all the building for you. And we know the way it should be structured, so it's done the right way. So yeah, I love that. Even though some people are like, I think I still want to go traditional. And we're like, do you really want to go traditional?
Well, I actually have a friend who wrote a book with a publisher, and he has, I don't know, maybe 300 books sitting in his basement. And he says, by the time that book was published, I really actually already had so many things that need to be different. I said, well, just so you know, I change my book all the time and make it better. And I don't have 300 books sitting downstairs. I just resubmit the book, same title and everything else, and make that little change. He goes, you're kidding me. I could actually do that. I said, well, if you did it non-traditionally, yeah.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome about self-publishing, that you can actually, update things and make things relevant and not have 300 books in your basement? Print on demand, when that came out, I was just so excited about that.
I don't know how they do it, but they send a book out within 2 days. That's pretty great.
Yeah, I love that. We always tell our authors, please don't invest in 300, 500 books that sit in your basement or your garage. Put that money towards your marketing and promotion instead. And if you need those books, great. Like if you have a speaking gig, then order those books, but have them drop shipped right to where you're speaking. But you should always have some books on hand, because you want to be able to give books away. That's always a great strategy. Get your book out there. Always carry some in your car with you, with your Sharpie pen that you have it on there. What did you find, David, through the process? Your book comes out. How did people respond to you? Did it change your business at all? Did it change the way people looked at you? What did these books do for you in your career?
Yeah. And there's two parts of this, because my son is 31 years old. And for him, this book is another thing as part of his portfolio. His day job is with Google, and he has about 4 or 5 other businesses that he has. And, for me, it's really, I am passionate about the concept of intention and how it can help people's lives personally. I've used it in our community to help our community come together around a central vision for things that we want to have happen. I organized the vision and planning guide for Manitou Springs, and it was us looking at the 11 areas of our community, and as individual people coming to the table, and for the most part agreeing that this is what our architecture we want it to look like. This is what our parks we want them to look like. This is, that kind of thing. So it works for that. And I haven't been able to do it at the world level yet, but who knows? I may have an opportunity to do that as well. So I come with a very deep passion for the concept. And so again, one of my key intentions is to make a contribution to the body of knowledge about topics of interest. Right now, intention is high on my list. So for me, just having another person read it and give me feedback that in some way it helped them to create an intention, to do an intention better, that is for me the motivation enough.
Yeah, it really leaves a legacy, right, Jen?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like that. So have you had any marketing, like what kind of marketing tactics have you tried with your books? And what worked, what didn't?
The book published at the end of 2022 for Christmas, at Christmas time. And for me, that's the heart of my ski season. So I ski from, I think this year I started November 15th, and I'm actually skiing tomorrow on Pikes Peak. So I can only do one thing right now, and which was we published the book and we're doing podcasts. And so my son, because I'm busy out in the mountains skiing, he's probably done 10 podcasts, and I've done about 4 now. And our main thrust at this point was being on podcasts where people like yourselves either have read the book and can give their audience the feedback that this book is something that they should consider. So that's been our main marketing approach. And now we're even, as we've said earlier, as we talked about early in this call, maybe talking to somebody like yourselves who can, do another aspect of that marketing.
Well, I'm going to tell you personally, I'm excited about this book. I had a son just graduate high school, so this is the perfect book for him. So anyone else who's just had some graduations, whether it's college or high school, this book will definitely be a great one for them.
It is. It's a perfect book for that. And to start, I can just say it's better to start earlier than later. And develop that habit of always coming back to what is my intention. It works for so many areas of the life, but for you to encourage your son to do this at this point is really huge. And you're welcome to give him my email if he needs any help or encouragement, or Colton, maybe because Colton's 31, so he's a little more interesting than a 70-year-old guy. But nonetheless, either one of us would be happy to do that for you.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Well, tell us where we can get your book.
We have a website, The F is Next, and you can get it there, but basically it's going to direct you to Amazon. So the book is in all formats. So if you don't have time to sit down and read it, you can listen to it. We have it on Kindle, and we have a hard and a paperback.
Awesome. Do you suggest the paperback or hard book just because it is a workbook too? Or do you feel like the audiobook would work even if you have a notebook?
Yes, I absolutely recommend that you get the paper. And if you're willing to pay a little more for the hardback, it's a beautiful looking book. It's sitting behind me there next to the lava lamp. And you can tell I'm from the 60s, right? It's lava lamp. So yeah, that we really encourage people that they write in the book. We have, tear it out of the book. It's more visceral, it's kinesthetic, it's tactile, and it embeds the concept of, this is what I want to have happen, even more. To the audible, a lot of people, just because this podcast, people are listening to the podcast while they're driving or mowing the lawn or whatever. The feedback we've got from the Audible is that people go, wow, okay, I've listened to it now. Because again, we made a book that's short, sweet, and straightforward. So it's not like you have to listen to a tome about this. We tried to just take the key elements of what you need to inspire you to do one intention. So yes, the Audible book is a great choice. It's cheap. I don't know, it's $2 or $3. Listen to it, but then make a commitment to come back with a workbook. We've got it set up that if you have a journal, anything, a blank piece of paper, you can still do the process after you've listened to the basic concepts.
I love that. And we actually interviewed you, for those who are listening and haven't heard our Elite Expert Insider podcast. We interviewed David and Colton on that as well. And they did talk about how writing things down really makes the intention happen, because sometimes you can just have an intention, like your friend who said, I want to write a book. If he hasn't ever written down that he wants to write a book, he probably never will, because he hasn't wrote the goal down.
Yeah, it's probably true.
So true. Well, if you're looking to write a book, make sure you reach out to us at eliteonlinepublishing.com. Hit that author submission button. We'll see if you're a good fit for us. Thanks, David, for coming today. We really appreciate. Thanks for all your tips on writing and your process. And everyone have a great week. See you next time. Thanks, Jen.
Bye.
Thanks to you both. It's been a pleasure.
If you want to write a book and become a best-selling author, you're in the right place. At Elite Online Publishing, we can help you create, publish, and market your book so that it becomes a #1 bestseller. We work with a limited number of authors to ensure that they receive the best possible service. So if you want to learn how to write and publish a book that will empower you to smartly grow your brand, business, and credibility, apply today. We look forward to working with you.